Alright, let's get straight into it then. First up, let's talk about the biggest surprise of the season. In my opinion, it's going to be Lance Stroll. Now I know what you're thinking, really? Lance Stroll? But hear me out. I've got a feeling he's really going to surprise us this season. He's been putting in the work and putting in the hours and taking what's out. Sorry. I think he's going to show some serious improvement. I mean, think about it. He's got the talent, he's got the experience, and now he's got the backing of Aston Martin. I think we're going to see some major progress from him and Aston Martin this year, and I can't wait to see what he's made of. Now for the biggest flop of the season. Now brace yourselves, folks. I hate to say it, but I think it's going to be McLaren. I know, it's a tough pill to swallow, but let's be real here. The testing hasn't gone well, and they just don't seem to be improving anytime soon. I mean, sure, they've got some great drivers, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, but that's not enough. They need a car that can keep on delivering week in, week out, and keep up with the rest of the pack. I just don't see it happening this season, so sorry McLaren fans, but I've got to call it like I see it. Okay, now it's gone to the constructors. In last place, I've got Williams, which is a surprise to nobody. Williams was so slow in 2022. I don't see them improving this year. It's tough to say though, who's going to be better? Last year, Nicholas Latifi, or this year, Logan Sargent? Hopefully, Williams' gamble pays off. But I think Alex Albon did pretty well last year, considering the car was pretty awful. Next up, we have AlphaTauri, and I definitely think they've taken a step back with their driver lineup this year. They have, obviously, Nick De Vries and Yuki Tsunoda. Now, I think Nick De Vries is okay. Obviously, you don't win Formula E and Formula 2 if you're not brilliant. But I also think he's a little bit overrated. I don't think he'll do as well as everyone thinks. As for Yuki Tsunoda, I hate to say it, but I don't think he'll do well either. He's really inconsistent, and as much as I love him and he's improved, I don't think he's going to do well, and this will lead to AlphaTauri finishing P9, not improving from last year. In P8, I have Haas, who have arguably the most stable driver lineup this year with Nico Hulkenberg and Suck My Balls. Kevin Magnussen, of course. Now, I don't think they'll have the pace that they had last year at the start of the season, so I think they'll be back of the midfield like they were the tail end of 2022. I think they'll get the odd point scoring position here and there, like they might get the odd P10, P9, P8 and things like that, but I also think they might get one really stellar result. I think it'll be Nico Hulkenberg who'll get like a P4 in one Grand Prix this year and really wow us. Next up, I have McLaren. Yes, in P7, position 7, I have the McLaren Racing Team. Now, I know what you're thinking, what? They've really fallen off. Like, literally 2 years ago, they were in P3, and now they're in P7. But look, like I said, I think they're going to be the biggest flop this season. They have not done well in testing. We have Lando Norris punching walls, and Oscar Piastri not looking good, and especially for him, it's his rookie season, and he might be in a really, really slow car, which is not good for him at all. So for me, I think they're really going to struggle. It might be similar to what they were like at the start of season last year in Bahrain, where they finished like P16 and 17. We could be seeing that for the entire season. And they're only getting upgrades in Baku, which is like start of May, I'm pretty sure, so Jesus, a long time. Then I have Alfa Romeo, the last year of them being Alfa Romeo. Obviously they're becoming Sauber and then Audi, which should be exciting. Now there's definitely a transition year for them. They have the new CEO Andreas Seidel from McLaren. Obviously Andreas knew what was going on, so he jumped ship to Audi. So what they're going to want to do is start to gain some momentum. Obviously Audi want to be front runners. So I think P6 is pretty good for them. They got the strong Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu who's improving. But I don't know how long Zhou will be in Formula 1. We'll see. P5, I have Alpine. Yes, they have both Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon. Both very decent drivers. I think they're both very good, but I do think that Pierre Gasly is a little bit overrated in my opinion. I think Esteban Ocon will beat him. This is only because I think Pierre has only really been in a car which we haven't really seen him measure up a good teammate. We had Daniel Kvyat for a bit, but then we had Max Verstappen, we had Yuki Tsunoda, and we can't really measure them because we don't actually know their abilities. Like, if you beat Yuki, are you a really good driver? Are you just an okay driver? Obviously we have Max Verstappen. If you beat Max Verstappen, you're bloody good. So I don't really know with Pierre, but I think this will put them in P5. Then, everyone, we have Aston Martin. Yes, I'm saying they will jump all the way up to P4. I'm really on this Aston Martin train at the moment. I really do hope they do well. I think Lance Stroll will seriously improve, as I said. And I think Fernando Alonso, guys, you heard it here first. He's going to win a Grand Prix this season. He is going to win a Formula 1 Grand Prix and get his 99th podium. I think it's 99. But I also do think they'll get loads of podiums this year. Maybe a pole position from Lance again. The reason this is happening is because I think Aston Martin have poached a whole bunch of like Mercedes aero team and engineers and things like that. So they're looking to be strong. So I'm saying they'll be in P4. And then we have the top 3. So in third, we have Ferrari. Again, I think this is going to be another transition year for this team. We have the outgoing Mattia Binotto, and we have Fred Vasseur, who's coming in, the first French team principal to come in since Jean Todt, I'm pretty sure. And we know how that went. I think it's going to take at least like the first half of the season for Ferrari to really start to like warm up. And then in the tail end of the season, we might see some great results. Maybe a few wins here or there, or at least a lot of podiums. And then I have Mercedes as the runner-up. Listen, I think they have the best driver lineup. They have both George and Lewis, who obviously we have Lewis, who's hungry for his 8th world title, and George, who's just a hungry young racing driver. Wow, they must be really hungry. Wow, why are they both hungry? I don't know why I said that. But with this driver lineup, I really think they could be like scraping and clawing at points off Red Bull if Sergio and Max have a bit of collision, a bit of a fight, because Sergio doesn't want to play second fiddle to Max, and oh yeah, sorry, spoiler alert, Red Bull are first. So we could see that happen. And then obviously we have Red Bull as P1. Not really a surprise here. If Max Verstappen's going to have any season like he did last year, Red Bull have ran away with it. Now onto my driver predictions. Now usually I do the entire field, but I find that's usually a bit boring. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you the interesting points and predictions I have. For McLaren, I have Lando in P14 and Oscar in P15. I'm saying Fernando Alonso will finish P7 with Lance Stroll in P9. And then for the top 3 teams, I have Carlos Sainz in P6, Sergio Perez P5, George Russell in P4, Charles Leclerc P3, Lewis Hamilton P2, and then of course Max Verstappen winning the World Drivers' Championship. What do you think about these predictions? Let me know in the comments below.